Hello, everybody, and welcome to the SEMA Collision Repair and Refinish stage at SEMA 2025. My name is Jason Black, and I'm with ICAR. And here with me today is Jason Garfoot here to talk about the new Performance Spray Gun 2. Jason, why don't you introduce yourself?
Yeah, thank you. Happy to be here, excited to be here. Yeah, my name is Jason also, so another great first name, maybe the best first name at SEMA.
Could possibly be.
Yeah, so excited to be here. I'm the global portfolio manager for our paint products at 3M. So I'm from the industry side, was a painter most of my life, most of the career, so it's fun to be back out here with everybody. Today we have something kind of new and exciting to show everybody in our spray gun platform. So with that, I think we can probably dive in, right?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, just before he even says it, I'm going to go ahead and say it. I am absolutely amazed at how light this thing is. I mean, I could throw this at Scott over there and probably hit him. It's so light. So
we might have to prove that at the end.
Right. I just want to start off by saying that it's very. If you haven't seen it, go to the booth and actually pick it up because it doesn't. It's so much lighter than it looks. I just wanted to give it its props there before you even say it.
Yeah, thanks. And if you do go over to the booth, we do have them set up in the back where you can actually spray them. So you can test them out, you can try out the different nozzles and all that stuff. So feel free to come over and get hands-on.
I need to do that.
Yeah, come on over, yeah. So I'll show you just a couple quick things here and then we'll kind of get hands-on with the spray gun itself. So very similar to our last spray gun, what we really wanted to do with this one is make it as versatile and efficient as possible, and then also improve on the consistency. So paint has only gotten more and more challenging. All the new wet-on-wet systems, the higher solids clears that are coming out, the more challenging colors, the Mazda ones that we've known for the last few years, the 46V, 46G, very, very difficult to spray. So we're trying to make that a little bit easier for painters to accomplish that OEM finish, make blends, all that stuff, a little bit easier to accomplish. So we wanted to keep that going with this spray gun. We've had a lot of positive feedback from our original performance spray gun, so we just wanted to amplify that as much as we possibly could. Very easy to clean, very, very light, as you've said, so it helps improve cycle times by minimizing that cleaning. Those nozzles do last a long time, by the way, so some people think they're disposable nozzles. They're actually designed to be used for hundreds of hours of spraying. So if you forget to clean them out, by all means, throw it away, put a new one on. The benefit of how we've designed these to be is everything is injection molded for a very specific purpose. First is it allows us to do interesting things that you can't do with machining metal. So typically with metal machining, you're limited to whatever you can do with the mill or with a drill. With these, we're able to hollow out different chambers and basically get more efficient use out of the air that's already going through the spray gun. The other thing is the consistency. Every time you grab a 1.3 nozzle, it's 1.3 down to the millimeter, right? So with metal spray guns, which spray amazing, by the way, but if you've noticed, you can't usually order just a needle or just a fluid tip. If you drop one of those, you damage one, you typically have to buy a needle, a fluid tip, and an air cap because those are hand filed to match and spray perfectly. By injection molding ours and welding everything together, every time you replace the nozzle, you're going to get brand new spray gun type performance. So,
and I want to back up a second to what you said on cleans in seconds. I've been painting cars for 30 years, and that is the absolute worst thing is cleaning my paint gun. And people think that sounds silly when I say that, and I taught for a long time, and I would tell them, you know, I can't stand it. I say, well, why? It's because just in the paint process, you're sealing, you're cleaning the gun. You're basting, you're cleaning the gun. This is at a minimum. You're clear coating, you're cleaning the gun. So you're cleaning the gun constantly, and, you know, when I'm spraying, I feel like I'm making money. When I'm cleaning the gun, I don't feel like I'm making money. So
right.
I want to say that's something we kind of skate over on an importance on how quick and easy it is to clean a gun. But for me, that's a very important thing.
Yeah, well, and just the forgiveness of a system like this. So take the new wet-on-wet base coats, for example. They're getting more and more popular. They save you a lot of time in the booth. A lot of money is being invested into that kind of technology. To do a blend these days, you typically have to spray a wet bed down and then come back into it with your color. If it's a tri-coat, you have to do that twice. So you either have to buy more spray guns, so you can have one that's always loaded with wet bed and then immediately follow with your base while it's still wet. With our system, you just need one spray gun. So you can set up multiple cups, you can have your wet bed, you can have your color, you can have your mid coat, and have a nozzle already on it. So as soon as you spray, all you have to do is pop the nozzle off, wipe the needle, pop on the next one, and you're off and running again.
And that's also very important for young technicians. Like I say, coming from a teaching background, when I would get the students in paints class, and we'd talk about, oh, we got this gun for base coat, this gun for this gun for that gun for that. Their first thing in their mind is, how am I going to afford right out of school to purchase 5 guns? You know, and this is an option. I'm not saying it's the only option, but this is an option that may appeal to a young technician in the industry.
Yeah, it works very well for that. And even for some of the larger companies that are bringing in a lot of young painters. So some of the newer body shops, to make it a better place to work for young people where they don't have to make such a big investment to get started, is they'll buy the paint guns for their technicians, and they're shared by all the painters. So if one painter forgets to clean out any 2K product, so primer, sealer, clear, they essentially made a lot of work for the next person. You have to fully break the spray gun down, clean everything out, pull everything out the needle, make sure there's nothing stuck to it. Nice thing with this is if you pop the nozzle off, put a new one on, you're up and running again. So it really eases that tension for beginner painters.
Yeah, definitely.
So some of the other things I wanted to show you is what's different from the old spray gun to the new one. So you will find a lot of similarities in performance. So the spray gun functions very similarly. Some of the internal components are the same. So the poppet seals, the needle, any of the O-rings, all of that stuff is the same. All of the nozzles or any accessories. So if you're a shop that uses any bulk feed systems like a pressure pot, any of the whip hose kits, all that stuff fits on the same gun. So you wouldn't have to buy anything additional. But we did do a lot of voice of customer stuff with the people using the gun to find out if you could change anything with our spray gun, what would it be? A few things kind of jumped to the top of that list. The first was the cleanability. So our original performance spray gun was made of a composite that used stainless steel fibers inside. We needed those fibers for conductivity. So a gun, they don't want it to generate static to be code compliant. So it has to kind of ground from tip to the end of the spray gun. We were able to play around with some resins, and our new spray gun is actually made out of carbon fiber. So we have a carbon fiber resin, which two things. One is just the cool factor of carbon fiber, right? That's always better performance, cooler, lighter weight. But the other thing with that is the cleanability. So we put these in some of our test shops for about 10 months. We brought them back. We switched out all the metal components with brand new ones. And we did a test with our internal people to see if they could tell the difference of which gun had been used for the last 10 months and which one was new, and they couldn't tell them apart. So that was really good for us to show that we've drastically increased the cleanability of the spray gun itself. Some of the other cool things on the spray gun, besides the carbon fibers, we've redesigned the trigger. So now it has a more ergonomic feel, and we've also increased the length of the hook on the trigger. So if you were going to spray a deck lid, a roof, a hood on the vehicle, and you have to stretch out over the vehicle, it's common for painters to have a little bit of tilt. With some of the new tougher metallics and tri-coats, it's easy for that to lead to striping. So what we've done with this one is by increasing the throw on the hook, is it makes it easier to tilt the spray gun down and pull with one finger. So it makes it a lot easier to have consistency, keep the gun parallel, and reduce that striping. The other things I want to show you here is on the controls themselves. So we've upgraded all the metal components, and I don't know if you can get a good shot of this, but on here we actually have a one-piece hook design, so that's all machined out of a higher grade material, and then we've added laser etching on the actual stem of the control nuts. I'll kind of turn this, you can kind of zoom in up here, so you can see those little dots and lines. With our old spray gun, if you're spraying metallic and then you're switching to a primer, you may want to play with your fan and fluid settings. Before, you had to completely turn those knobs in and count your turns as you turned it back out. Now with this laser etching on here, just by looking at it, we can see we're 4 turns out on our fan and we're 3 turns out on our fluid. So it makes it much faster and easier to replicate the same settings that you want to over and over again. And then if we come down here and look at the gauge, we've also drastically improved the gauge. So much higher quality gauge. And then we've added these 2 color zones on here. So we have this blue range and this green range on the actual gauge itself. So what that's for is those are the operating pressures of the different nozzles that we offer. So we have our HVLP nozzles, and then we have our compliant nozzles, which would be similar to like a SATA RP or an Iwata WS, anything that's compliant. We have nozzles that do that same thing. So if you're using our compliant nozzles, you should have that pressure up in the blue area. If you're spraying with HVLP, you want to be in that green area for optimal performance.
Yeah, sorry, Jason. I know I mistimed my microphone when I was holding it over. Should have waited till we changed shots, but
yeah, no worries. Yeah. So those are the biggest improvements with the gun. Like we said, we wanted to make sure that it was backwards compatible with anything that customers may have already purchased. So if you have your whip hose kit, if you have the HO setup, which is the pressure cup that goes on top of the spray gun, all of that stuff can be fitted right to this gun. You don't need any special adapters, any additional tools, anything like that. The other exciting thing with the launch of this spray gun is we've actually increased the range of nozzles that we're offering on the compliance side. So we've had the HVLP ones out for a long time. Really good for your solvent bases, any of your coat dry waters, so like PPG EnviroBase, AutoWave, any of those spray a coat, let it dry, spray a coat, let it dry. That's where you're typically going to want to use those HVLP nozzles. But there's been a much higher demand in the industry with the new coatings for compliance. So we need increased air pressure because the solids have increased in clear coat. The wet-on-wet systems are designed to be sprayed very wet and not slide off the vehicle. So they're very thick coatings compared to what we've used in the past, like solvent.
and that allows you to keep the atomization correct with that compliant. Yep.
100%. Yep, so we've increased the range of nozzles. So we used to just have, with our compliant nozzles, a 1.2, a 1.3, and a 1.4. We now have a full range from 0.9 all the way up to 2.0. We've also added an additional nozzle size in compliant, which is a 1.1. The reason we have that nozzle is for those really tricky metallic colors. So again, that 46G, the 46V, I'm sure some of you have sprayed the fine metallics that Toyota's using in some of their silvers. Very hard to spray in wet on wet if you're not atomizing fine enough. So this is just one more tool in your toolbox. You don't have to buy a new spray gun, just one nozzle size. The nozzles are pretty inexpensive. You pop that on for that specific coating. You can spray that metallic the way you want to. Now if you're moving on to a solid color, all you have to do is quickly change the nozzle and you're back to spraying something else. So no need for multiple spray guns.
And that's very exciting. And I like the way you guys color-coded it too, so that you can pick out what you need very quick and easy. And it's kind of a fail-safe where you know that, hey, if I want that 1.2, I'm looking for that certain color. If I want that 1.4, I'm looking for that yellowish color. So it makes it really easy where you're not picking the wrong thing.
Yeah, and great point. And we've kept that completely consistent with our HVLP nozzles. So if you haven't used the compliant ones, but you've been using the HVLP ones for a few years, the color coding is exactly the same. So a 1.3 in HVLP is green. Our 1.3 with this one is also green. So we've made sure we've matched those up to keep that consistency. So there's less of a learning curve if you decide to switch over to compliant nozzles or your paint line requires them. From a cup side, no matter what 3M cup you were using before, the same ones fit because it is the same nozzle. Like we said, everything is compatible. So nothing new to purchase outside of the gun if you want to upgrade your equipment to the new performance spray gun that's, again, easier to clean. That same versatility and consistency that you're used to, just in a more kind of cooler, more updated, fun look for painters, which tend to care about the looks the most, right? We do still have the other spray guns, so that's not going anywhere. So those of you who like the more industrial look, that more grayish color, which some people do love that from our voice of customer studies that we've done, that's not going anywhere. So that'll still be available for people who want that one. But if you want the more premium look and feel, the performance spray gun 2 is going to be the one you would want.
Well, I'm surprised to hear that. I'm glad, but kind of surprised. Normally when one thing comes out, a company will kind of phase the other one off. Doesn't sound like you have any intentions of doing that at all, right?
Correct. Yeah, we like to learn from our customers to find out what they like, what they don't like. A market we didn't expect to grow as big as it did was on the industrial side. They're a lot rougher on their spray guns, so a higher gloss finish, more premium controls, all that kind of stuff, it gets beat up a lot quicker on the industrial side. So for customers like that, paying more money for a more premium look and feeling gun gets wasted very quickly as they're just going to beat it up, right? They get covered with very, very interesting things, more than just paint, that are very, very hard to clean off. So for them, that other spray gun, the Performance Spray Gun 1, just makes more economic sense for them to have.
Yeah, that makes sense. Very good points.
And for beginner painters again. So I know when I got in the industry, I didn't have enough for the new special edition SATA. I had to work my way up with a cheaper gun until I could afford the guns that I really wanted. So we don't want our customers to have to sacrifice anything around efficiency, versatility, or performance. So if all they can afford is that cheaper entry-level gun, we have the perfect gun to get them into the system. When they're ready to upgrade to something that they care about a little more, want to take care of and keep looking newer longer, that's when they can upgrade to the Performance Spray Gun 2 and use all of the things they were already using.
That's funny because when I first got in this industry, we were just making the switch to gravity fed. And I'm not even joking about that. That is 100% correct. So
yeah, for me it was we had the gravity feed guns, but the big switch for me was we all still had the metal cups on top. And anytime you would tip them sideways, paint would leak out the top. So then you'd plug your hole with tape and then forget to take it off when you turn it over and start starving the gun. And it was interesting. The industry's come a long way for sure.
Yeah, definitely. So.
All right. Well, if there's no questions or anything, I mean, that wraps up the main key points of the spray gun. This should be available to all of you very, very soon. Some of our distributors have it already. It's just getting released now, so you should see it in your area very, very soon.
Well, I want to say thank you, Jason, for coming out and sharing your expertise and this amazing-looking gun with us, and I hope you have a great rest of the show. Guys, if you haven't, go over to 3M. They're just literally right over real close to us, and check this stuff out.
Thank you. Appreciate the time and for everything you guys do. It's always fun to work with iCar, always pushing the industry forward, getting technicians up to speed, so happy to be a part of anything that you guys are doing.
Thank you.